Okay, so I've touched on this in a few videos, why Cathe Wood may be selling GBTC, even if she thinks that Bitcoin ETFs are going to be approved. Now, first we have to recognize she's not perfect. She makes a lot of mistakes, as do probably most of us. You remember when she sold Nvidia just before it went on this historic run. Like, sometimes people just make bad moves. But I wanted to kind of dig into her logic, her reasoning, because again, you would think this big event, this historic event for Bitcoin is on the horizon. It's also good for converting those Grayscale Trust shares into ETFs, a much better product. You think you'd want to hang in there until that event actually happens. Well, the first risk factor is pretty simple. What if Grayscale itself is not approved and you're stuck in this inferior product, and maybe, you know, her own ETF goes through and BlackRock and Fidelity, and you have all these other options? Who's going to want to stick with Grayscale? You're going to see, like we saw in the past, this huge discount on those shares because you can't pull the Bitcoin out. You know, you're just stuck in this awful product, this trust product, and it probably would see a massive loss. It's not inconceivable that the SEC would do this either. Remember, Grayscale just got done suing them, and they are vindictive for sure. And I could see them figuring some little reason why not to approve only Grayscale. Further, the parent company that owns Grayscale, the Digital Currency Group, they have a lot of issues. That's why you saw the Digital Currency Group CEO step down from the board of Grayscale, trying to clear that situation up so the SEC is comfortable. You know, you just don't know. Maybe that doesn't do the trick. And further, there's just unknown factors maybe with their application. Something's off, something's wrong. You really don't want to be stuck in Grayscale, especially if there are Bitcoin ETFs available. It'd be a really dangerous move and something for all of us to think about. If you hold, you know, GBTC, just know, even if ETFs are approved, doesn't mean Grayscale's will be, even though I think it's going to be, and you could be in a really bad spot there. So just keep that in mind. There's a big danger specifically with Grayscale. Now, furthermore, she may be thinking most of the initial Bitcoin ETF gains are already baked in. Much of the market believes or almost knows that this is going to go through, it's going to happen. And so how much gains are left on the table? Now, to me, this event is not all about that initial pop we get from it. It's a big moment. It's going to open up this asset class to a bunch of new investors. And I'm looking more over the next year to 5 years, what that does to crypto in general. And it's going to go beyond Bitcoin. It's going to go, you know, to the broader crypto market. They will continue to roll out ETF products like this. It'll be massive. But from a trading perspective, you know, maybe most of those gains are already in there. And I'm sure once it's announced, it's approved, you're going to see an initial pop like we see many times, but it very likely will pull back once that excitement's over. And again, everyone is front-running that because they know it's probably going to happen. There might be a little bit of gain left, but you're taking on an awful lot of risk, especially with those GBTC shares. You're not holding Bitcoin direct. When you look at year-to-date, Grayscale itself had a huge discount compared to the amount of Bitcoin you actually have rights to, and it closed most of that discount. So Grayscale GBTC shares themselves have had a monster year because you close that gap, that big discount, and Bitcoin itself is up big on the year. So you almost have to, especially in her situation, lock in those profits, take all the risk off the table, and you can re-examine at the beginning of the year and invest in just a general ETF product, maybe her own, who knows, and I think that makes a lot more sense. And again, that compounding factor of both Bitcoin being up and that discount eroding, it's just a great time for her to pull in profits and call it a day on that investment. Again, she can pull more money into Bitcoin with an ETF product down the road if it gets approved. Lastly, it's not a zero risk that all Bitcoin ETFs are denied. Sure doesn't look like it. It sure looks like this is game time, but it's always a possibility until it's official. And I've said before, if they have any real logical problem, it would be with the custody of assets. They would almost be okay to push it down the road a little bit and have them kind of fix this up, shore this up with the way exchanges, with their trading functionality and their custody functionality, making sure there's a big separation there so you don't get a Sam Bankman-Fried type of situation. It sure seems like they're comfortable with these applications. I think it's a go, but it's a non-zero risk, and she's going to want to lock in those gains and show that fund performance, and she just does not want to leave that on the table. And again, always remember, people just make mistakes. Maybe it's a bad time to do this. I love holding Bitcoin. I would have a problem with holding GBTC at this time because we just don't know that specific investment vehicle is going to be able to convert. They very well may not. And then you're holding an inferior product that no one's going to want, and you're going to see a massive discount. I'm not sure what they would do at the end of the day. They have to unwind it or what. Just something to keep in mind, especially for those of you out there that hold those shares. It's not a zero risk, that's for sure. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.